In this video, I'll be taking you through the exact strategy you're going to use for the rest of your trading career. It's a strategy that's been the most consistent for me for the past 4 years. It's a strategy my students have gotten their breakthroughs and payouts with, and it's a strategy that will retire your family. So sit back, watch this 10-minute video and change your life. So let's get straight into it. So in this strategy, we're going to be trading one candle, and that being the 10 a.m. 4-hour candle. Now, the reason I trade the 4-hour candle instead of an hourly candle or any lower time frames is because the 4-hour candle helps you align with the higher time frame. But we'll get into the higher time frame a bit later. I just want to go through how the 4-hour candle works intraday. And the reasoning behind the 10 a.m. AMD model working is behind the core fundamentals of a candle. Every candle has an open, a low, a high, and a close, forming the wicks on both the ends and the candle body closure. And this higher time frame makeup on the lower time frame, all it is an accumulation, followed by a manipulation creating the low of this candle, then internal structure forming with this change in the steady delivery to actually confirm that reversal, letting us know that the manipulation phase has been done of that 4-hour candle, and then a distribution making the highs of the candle, and then a closure. And so pretty much I use this lower time frame makeup to my advantage on every single candle. And you might be wondering, how do we enter? All we do is wait for that change in the steady delivery above the last series of down close candles, and we take our position off that 60 level, off that order block, and we take our position to the highs. Let's get straight into our first example. So in this case right here, we're on ES on the 4-hour chart, and I see this nice 4-hour fair value gap. Now at this point, this is the 2 a.m. candle, this is the 6 a.m. candle. So what am I looking for? As I mentioned with the daily power of 3, I'm expecting some sort of SMT to be here or some sort of significant candle body closure to confirm that this is actually going to be the high of day. So the 10 a.m. candle can do what? Just accumulate, manipulate into a 15-minute fair value gap, and then just distribute. So as you can clearly see, we're on NASDAQ, and it looks like it's completely doing the opposite. NASDAQ took out this high, and it's very, very strong, while ES is very, very weak. Now, it might go up to these highs. We're not really too sure, but we're just going to be patient and skip forward to 10 a.m. and see what price actually wants to do. So we go back to ES here. ES is actually the weaker asset, so we just wait and see for 10 a.m. So now we're on the 1-hour chart. And all I'm looking for is some sort of SMT with a confirmation of where we're actually going to go. At the moment, there might be an SMT at this high. Let's check NASDAQ. So yeah, there is an SMT at this high with this 9 a.m. high. So with this bearish SMT at the highs and the significant closure below, I think on the 30-minute or the maybe even the 1-hour. Yeah, we might get a significant closure on the 1-hour, forming this 1-hour propulsion block as well, or the SSD level. So at this point, I'm going to wait for the 10 a.m. candle to open up, see if we can accumulate, manipulate, and then distribute lower. So let's go to the lower time frame, the aligned time frame, and see how price reacts to this fair value gap. So as you can clearly see, right, we get this nice tap into this gap. What does price do? We tap into it again. Seems like we're disrespecting it at this moment, right? We barely had an accumulation. We left a devil's mark, so we're not going to enter off of here. We're just going to wait for this accumulation. This right here looks like an accumulation, and we see a manipulation into this gap here. If we can get a significant closure below here, I feel like we can look to trade a short back into the range, right? In this model, I use 1.5R actually, so just this low, this accumulation low. For the 10 AMD model, you just target the accumulation lows. So let's see how price reacts. Do we get a significant closure, or do we just keep pushing higher? We might wick off this fair value gap and continue higher. Let's wait and see. We do get an inversion there, so we get a significant closure. Now, my AMD model would be working here, so we'll take a sell limit here and target this low, the bottom. Stop loss above there, see how this price plays out. We manipulate into this 15-minute fair value gap, see a strong reaction from this 15-minute fair value gap. We have SMT at the highs, right? This two-step SMT. You guys can clearly see, right, the strength difference on NASDAQ and ES. NASDAQ is pushing higher here, while ES is, lower. But let's just see if this plays out. So we just get tapped in. Okay, and price hits our take profit perfectly. So this is how you can scalp using the 10 AMD model. I mean, we're just aligning ourselves with the higher time frame as well. We had this external SMT, and then we have this internal SMT. NASDAQ is all the way up here, while ES is so much weaker. And this is what I say, price reacts to these 15-minute fair value gaps quite beautifully, right? So we could take a look at this example right here. This is an A+ example. So pretty much we're on the 4-hour chart right now on NQ. And all I'm looking for is a continuation. We have this nice order block resting here for our 4-hour change in the steady delivery level. Now, the reason I'm taking a continuation is because we left a nice equal high into this nice 4-hour fair value gap right here. So this would kind of be my drawn liquidity or my liquidity magnet. And there's, of course, liquidity resting above as well. So at this point, the 6 a.m. candle has it closed. I'm not too sure. So this is the 9 a.m. candle right here. Now I'm going to look for the nearest PD array, which I can see is this nice 1 hour fair value gap here, right? Now for price to open up, right, I want price to accumulate, manipulate into this higher time frame PD array because we left this failure swing and these equal highs to the 4-hour fair value gap. So I'm anticipating the 10 a.m. candle to open up, accumulate, manipulate into this gap, create some sort of SMT, and then distribute higher. So we can go down to the lower time frame, the 5-minute chart, right? And you can clearly see we failed to push higher. So at this point, the 10 a.m. candle opens up. We manipulate into this area, right? This hourly swing low, right? And we tap in that 4-hour or 1 hour fair value gap. So at this point, I'm just going to wait for structure, see if we create any SMTs. But at this point, I'm just waiting for a significant closure to the upside. So in this case, we don't have any changes in the steady deliveries right to the upside all the way until here, which would make no sense to take. So we could take the small 5-minute inversion for value gap, right, as our change in the order flow. So we could pretty much just take our position off of here, keep our stop loss there and target this or target a 1.5R. Let's see how ES is moving. So ES has a significant closure here as well, and this creates a large IFVG, and we form that SMT with that hourly gap and this hourly external low. So we can enter off this candle, keep our stop loss below this low, and target this nice 1.5R or actually 2R right here. And we can see how this model plays out, that accumulation, demanipulation into this gap, creating SMT at the lows, and then that distribution confirming with that IFVG and that change in the steady delivery. So let's see how this plays out here. And it seems like we're going to continue higher. We tap in that 4-hour gap. Now this is where you'd be careful. Go break even because we did engage into that higher time frame PD array. So at this point, I'd go break even, see how price distributes, see if we can continue higher to the second gap. And we hit take profit. So absolutely beautiful trade here, right? We align ourselves with the higher time frame. We form that SMT. We go break even at that 4-hour fair value gap because that's a possible price, possible for price to reverse from there. So with this SMT, with that accumulation overnight, then we get that manipulation into this unmitigated gap, confirm the reversal with a significant closure, and we take our position and it works out nicely. So now we're on to the third AMD model setup, which is going to be here on gold. Now gold is very interesting because the 10 AM AMD model works very, very nicely on it. So at the moment, what do I see? I see this 4-hour fair value gap get filled and my drawn liquidity just automatically becomes this external range of liquidity, right? Because we go from IRL to ERL. And we also have this nice 6 a.m. strong significant closure. So the 10 a.m. candle bias is bullish. So at this point, what do I see? I see the significant closure on 9 a.m. All I'm anticipating is price to accumulate, manipulate into a 15-minute gap, have that CISD, and then continue higher. So that's our framework for all of them. So we can go down to the 15-minute chart and see how that plays out. I want to wait for price to tap into some gap. So we react off of this 15-minute fair value gap plus this change in the steady delivery here. So now I'm down to the lower time frame chart on gold, which you can clearly see, right, is the 1 minute because we're tapping into this 15-minute rally gap as we always align our time frames, right? So at this point, I'm looking for that SMT, which we clearly have, as you know, gold takes the low while silver fails to take this low. So that's the SMT, that's the higher time frame gap. Now all I'm looking for is pretty much these equal highs here. I just want to scalp it. Let's see how that works. We do get that significant closure. We do get that SISD in the same candle. So we'd pretty much enter off of here. We keep our stop loss at the rejection block and target a nice 1.5R. And we can see how the setup actually plays out. So we have this accumulation. We have that manipulation into that gap, which you can clearly see. We have that SMT, which is beautiful. It's aligned with our higher time frame, right? That 4-hour rally gap. And this is just a way to create the manipulation wick and then continue higher. So let's see how the setup plays out. And we hit take profit. Absolutely beautiful. So here's our fourth example. This is going to be on oil this time, and this is another A+ example right here. So you can clearly see this is the 2 a.m. candle right here. This is the 6 a.m. candle, which takes the 2 a.m. candle's high and gets a significant closure, also having this IFVG on the 4-hour chart. So at this point, all I'm expecting is bearish price action to this low and the previous 4-hour candle's low. So at this point, we can go down to the 1-hour chart. See, we also have this nice 1-hour fair value gap, as well as this propulsion block here. Let's go to the 15-minute chart, wait for the 10 a.m. candle to open up. So we open up, we don't really do much. We tap in that gap. We get a significant, Do we get any significant closure to that 1 hour gap? Nope, not yet. So we don't have any SSD right here. We don't have a change in the state of delivery, though we don't enter, right? You can clearly see we just wick that instead of actually closing. So we're just gonna still be patient here, wait for that SSD level. So ideally we'd wait for this 5-minute, inversion, or even this 5-minute SSD here. They will both be nice entries. And the reason why we tapped into this 1 hour gap but didn't continue is because we didn't see this change in the state of delivery. Like you can clearly see we didn't have any candle body closures, we didn't have any IFVGs here. So that's what differentiates an A plus setup to like a C setup. You're not going to take this, right? And why are we on the 5-minute chart instead of the 1 minute? Because we're looking at an hourly fair value gap now, right? So pretty much you'd be waiting for this here instead. And unless we get that, so we get that significant closure. So at this point here, you can limit order this, keep your stop loss above this high, and target this low right here. And we can see how this plays out. Let's see if we get tapped in. This would be our accumulation, manipulation, and then that distribution. Let's see if we get tapped. So we do get tapped, and we hit take profit. So absolutely perfect here. And this is a core example of what makes this an A plus setup, right? Waiting for that confirmation is very important. If you don't see a closure, right, a proper closure below the last series of down close candles that tapped into that gap, don't take the position. Don't FOMO. Even though we accumulated, we manipulated, and we got a somewhat of a distribution, we didn't get that closure, so we don't enter. And these are the confirmations. Fifth and final example, which is one of the best, right? We're still back on oil here. What does price do at this moment? We have this 2 a.m. high with a 6 a.m. candle. We have an inversion of this 4-hour fair value gap, and we have this nice internal range of liquidity resting below this gap as well. So this is a daily fair value gap below this, and I'm expecting price to go from external to internal on the higher time frame. So that's my drawn liquidity for the day, and all I'm looking for, right? We have this nice hourly fair value gap here, right? But we don't have any SMT, so I'm expecting price to tap back into the hourly SMT or the hourly fair value gap, create an SMT, and then continue lower. So we can go down to the lower time frames. You'll clearly see we tap in this gap. We also sweep this liquidity, and now all I'd be looking for, right, this accumulation, this manipulation, what am I looking for? A change in the state of delivery, or that IFVG, right, for both of our entry techniques. So all we do is just wait. If you can train yourself to wait, you will make so much money, right, just waiting for that entry rather than, just FOMOing off anything. Like you're not going to take this. You're just going to be patient, see what price does. So we have this nice 5-minute IFVG here that we can take as well. I'll take this as well here. Keep my stop loss at that protected high and target the external low, or actually I just target a 2R just to keep it static. But this is a beautiful setup, right? You can clearly see this accumulation. The 10 a.m. candle opens up. We have that manipulation, and then we get that beautiful distribution. So let's see how the setup actually plays out. We get a continuation, and we hit take profit so quickly, right? And this is because we're aligning ourselves with the higher time frame, right? And this 10 a.m. AMD model gives us that opportunity to take that trade in favor of the daily bias. And to show you a couple of results in October, we pretty much use this every single day. You can clearly see this is a trade we took the other day. Beautiful accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Right here is another trade, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. These are all back to back, by the way, right? Barely got stopped out here just because my stop loss placement went off, but that played out nicely with this beautiful trade right here as well. Another accumulation, manipulation, distribution back into the range. Another scalp. And the strategy actually works. Take it from other people on my Discord. This guy passes the account with this trade, that accumulation, manipulation, distribution. These guys took the same trade as me, even though they weren't on my live. And this is proof that this model works. It continues to work. It has backtested EV. If you struggle with not getting payouts or passing your first prop firm, I think this model is really going to be for you, right? And I built a step-by-step guide on this model as well. So if you want access to that, click the second link in the bio. And if you want to go further more, you can click the first link in the bio, which will give you 7 days free access to my premium. So you can ask me as many questions. You can join my live session tradings. You can join my back testing classes, and you can get access to my free pre-market analysis every single day. So if you want to do that, click the first link in the bio, get access for free, 7 days. You can cancel at any time. So don't worry about getting charged, right? So I'll see you guys next time.